I will say primary, because even the technical subject based knowledge is definitely important. This is absolutely true. But the how to apply those knowledge is only coming from, let's say, these industrial connects. Yeah, as professors always have, they try to, let's say, bring problems directly from the industry to our, let's say, table for the students. I think the tuition fees was around 4,000 USD. I think the even the tuition fees which we pay is quite similar to what now Indian top universities are asking. If you ask the right questions, let's say, to the professors, it is not like in India that for example, if someone is a design professor and you go ask him design related questions, in India they are, let's say, cut short to this one subject here. But here it is like they have some industrial experience or they have connections to the industrial experts here. And if you make some kind of a contact, yeah, a regular contact with these professors, you will understand, let's say, a wider, let's say, you will get a wider range of knowledge from him. And it is not just you don't need to stick with that subject he is teaching or he will teach to you. So you can get a lot of other knowledge, or I won't say other knowledge, but let's say connected knowledge and connected industrial experience from him, and he can teach you better. That I mean, I will say this was really good. As I said, there is always a practical approach to everything here. There's absolutely no book rubbish things going on. There were more, let's say, practical based problems. Yeah, there was always this practical approach to the problems. All real life world problems were converted to questions, and there we could understand, okay, so this is what is leading to. And in India it was, let's say, completely opposite. Yeah, it was, let's say, cut short. There was just direct, whatever you had in the book directly converted to questions. So this was, let's say, really good. We did the scholarships. Yeah, and we got the scholarships right from the second semester. Yeah, the second, we had, let's say, 4 semesters in 2 years. So for the, let's say, 3 semesters, the last 3 semesters, we did receive the scholarship, which could, I will say, I got a lot of interviews luckily, and many of them were telephonic interviews, many of them were video call interviews. Yeah, some of them I also attended with them directly in person, and I got the, let's say, job even before I presented my thesis at the university. I will say, just not only, let's say, AI, but just the IT alone itself isn't everything. First of all, yeah, you cannot eat food just by Zomato app. Someone has to cook it, yeah, or someone has to grow the crops. And it is the same way automotive as well. Yeah? Someone has to build the cars in order to use the IT inside these systems. Yeah, so both are equally important.
Hello everybody, welcome all of you. My name is Shivaraman, Director of Europe Study Center. Today we are going to interview our student who studied in Czech Republic and currently working in Czech Republic. Venkatesh, welcome to the show.
Hello Shiva, how are you?
Yes, I'm good. Thank you. Thanks for your time to make this interview for the young audience. Venkatesh, kindly introduce yourself to our audience.
Hello all, this is Venkatesh here. Uh, I was doing my bachelor's in SRM University, Chennai, and then I had planned to do my master's. Yeah, then I came across this university through Europe Study Center here in Czech Republic, Technical University of Liberec, and there I did my master's in machine design. And then eventually I joined in Prague as a design engineer, and then in Honeywell as a development engineer. And then now I'm currently working in Robert Bosch as development engineer again in R&D. Yeah.
Wonderful, great to know your journey. And when I look into your LinkedIn profile, I could clearly see no gap. I would say an ideal track, immediately finishing bachelor's, starting your master's, finishing up your master's and moving to your employment. So this was like a perfectly planned activity, or it happened just like that for you? Out of curiosity, I want to know this.
Yeah, I would say it was 50-50. Let's say I had an intention to let's say into going into the automotive sector. Yeah, but let's say it happened all net, let's say automatically as well, because I was looking on one side and the other side they already offered me the job in Prague, in the Rahao as design engineer. And the experience was quite, let's say, beautiful, because I could learn a lot of things in the first company. Yeah, I mean, here the work culture itself also is, let's say, quite good. You can learn, you can interact with people, and that it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. So now, looking back, any student studying any engineering degree in India, whether it's aeronautical or the one that you studied, automobile or anything, people always end up in sitting for an IT job. So,
Mhm.
how did you break that ideology and you stuck to your core and planned for your masters?
No, I have only one thing in my mind. Let's say, if maybe directly for the students who are willing to do automotive, or do want to do in the automotive field, yeah, or for that matter any field, I will say, yeah. If you want to, let's say, you are passionate about something, you should not think about anything else. Yeah, you should keep that in your that as your goal, and you should just work on your skills. And let's say you may be not able to see the result maybe in a month or so, but definitely you will get the result someday. Yeah, but you need to keep that passion alive in yourself, and this is how I also going to do that. Yeah.
Super. Very, very well explained. Because, brother, why I asked you this question is we see a civil engineering guy, okay, coming to our
Mm.
office, good marks from good university. I'd be really charged up. Okay, I will motivate this guy for energy engineering or structural engineering. He comes up and tells me, like, sir, I want to study data science. I was like, why? Why you should study a data science? First of all, you are not eligible. Why? Because all these wrong guidances and input, and it takes a Herculean effort for us to make him stick to his core. That's why,
Mhm.
you know, I asked you this question. And right after your bachelor's, you would have had a lot of country options. Any specific reason to choose Europe as your study destination?
This was very simple for me, because I was looking for automotive and engineering, yeah, and both, it's the Europe is the core, yeah. So that was very simple for me to select.
Okay, wonderful. And how did you find Europe Study Center?
So I mean, I wasn't directly looking for some agency or anything, but let's say when I was trying to find the universities, let's say, I found that there are also agencies who help with the process side. Yeah, I was, let's say, more into technical stuff. I could understand what technical needs are there for joining the university and everything. But let's say the process wise, Europe Study Center, let's say, I think this was the right fit. Let's say that could help me with the processes, joining, visa, etc. Yeah.
Wonderful. So how did you find us through social media or for your friends? How
No,
it
no.
is?
But one of my friends actually told that there is this agency. I wasn't actively looking for an agency, but once he told that, then I actively searched, and then Europe Study. But as I said, this was the right fit for me.
Okay, wonderful. Through your friends' references. Okay. So then, how did you make the selection of TUL, Technical University of Liberec at Czech Republic for your?
So again, I will say this again was 50-50. One was, let's say, research from my side, let's say, as to which university to join and etc. And this was also, let's say, some guidance from the study center itself, yeah, ESC itself, and the colleagues there helped me quite a lot. Let's say, based on what you have achieved in the past, in the bachelor's, in your school, and what all projects you have done. So based on that, they have recommended, let's say, a lot of universities here, and they gave good guidance. I will say, let's say, the place, the cost of living, and etc. And all this considered, then I chose TUL. Yeah.
Wonderful, very smart option. At that
Hmm.
time, Venkatesh, your friends would have been going to UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, where they spend a lot
Yeah.
of money and etc. etc.
Hmm.
Many people would have asked you, right, at that moment, Czech Republic, where
Yeah.
on earth this destination is. How did you handle
Yeah.
that, tackle that situation?
Yeah, so for me it was again not so complex. I mean, if it was, let's say, outside Europe, someone was mentioning something outside Europe, I was simply the answer was simple, that automotive core is in Europe. Yeah. So that was very simple for me. But if someone mentioned, let's say, some country within Europe, so I was, let's say, onto like, this is not the right fit for me, first of all. And maybe second thing is, even the Czech Republic, which even I didn't hear of before ESC, yeah, before coming to ESC. But when I researched it a lot, let's say, it did seem like an attractive option, let's say, based on the because we also have to consider the budget and everything for studying. Yeah, so this was the right fit for me. Yeah.
Super, super. See, I don't, I don't promote UK, Ireland 1 year degree,
Mhm.
PG diplomas on all these things, top public
Mhm.
universities. Plus, I cannot, brother, pick up an offer letter, give it to a student or a parent and ask them to pay 30, 40 lakhs. I cannot do
Mhm.
it. Me
True.
being a student working in Europe, imagine, brother, you would have spent
Mhm.
50, 60 lakhs for your masters. We would be
Mhm.
still paying back the education loan with the interest, right? You know what
That's
these banks charge.
sure.
So
Sure.
do you like accept with our ideology? Please spend less, learn more. This is what I tell students. Do you accept this?
Mhm. I completely agree. I mean, if you have the means to spend so much and still not worry about, let's say, paying the loans back, then go ahead and do whatever you wish. But otherwise, I think for the majority of people, I will say the thing you said is the best. Yeah. Because honestly, if I say, even after coming here, let's say, we have also, let's say, all the students who have come to, let's say, Czech Republic especially, have spent a lot lesser than what I have seen, as you said, UK, US, or Australia. Yeah. And we are living, let's say, almost as same happiness as them, and all the same struggles. Yeah. Everything is same. Yeah. I will say. So I don't think it's necessary to spend a lot.
Exactly. Because, I follow this ideology. Any country you go,
Mhm.
brother, okay, whether
Sure.
it's US or Canada or Germany
Mhm.
or Czech Republic, you should study in that country's premier university. For example,
Sure.
in your case, Technical University of Liberec, mechanical
Mhm.
faculty, they are number one in Czech Republic. That is
Sure.
the reason, we promote these things. And when the
Mhm.
cost is less and the learning is more, and the students should
Mhm.
grab it with both of their hands,
Yes.
which is what exactly you did. So now,
Absolutely.
coming into your journey and studies in Czech Republic, we would have studied in a different education system back home in India, and
Mhm.
you would have to completely adapt to a new system in your first semester. So how did your
Mhm.
first semester at TUL go?
I will say first, I mean, everything included, it was like a culture shock. uh, First of all, I mean, I personally did like it, but it was, let's say, quite different. It took time to adapt, let's say, to this kind of learning. Professors did not expect to memorize things. They did not expect to score high or anything. But what they expected was you to understand the core subjects, yeah, the basics. They expected a certain knowledge before joining. Even while teaching, they did expect, let's say, a little bit of basic knowledge from the bachelors, but they didn't hesitate to teach us. Yeah. And even even if we, let's say, didn't know, they did, let's say, guide us, let's say, properly, like what exactly to work on, and we did, let's say, then little bit of homework to work on our basics. Yeah, this is what we lacked a lot. Yeah, only Indian students, I will say, lacked the basics when we joined for the masters. And I think the bachelors which is here in Europe, especially not only Czech Republic, but let's say the whole Europe, the bachelor's level itself is, let's say, quite high. I'll say their basics are very strong, and this is what we lack in the Indian education. We are only scoring for marks, or some practical exams, but here they focus on the basic knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, the same point I keep telling the parents. People, I don't want to say the names,
Mm.
spending 7 to 10 lakhs on tuition fees per year for an engineering course in Chennai and Bangalore nowadays. You know,
Mm-hmm,
and then
mm-hmm.
you multiply it
True.
into 4. When are they going to get that money back? Because people are in an ideology: we spend
Mm,
more, we learn more,
mm,
and we earn more. That's
mm.
not the case. And that's why
Sure.
we request, we plead at UG level itself, you can go abroad, if not for the NITs and IITs in our country, basically,
Very
which
true.
you
Very true.
kind of rightly pointed out. So, any specific points, if you could say, the learning pattern that you changed, for example, from a memory-based examination to practical examination, these points?
No, this was, let's say, I will say there was very flexible examination system here. Yeah, we were not memorizing formulas. We were not memorizing constants for the engineering, let's say, engineering point of view. Whatever the, let's say, we had to understand what principle lies behind each and every problem, rather than, let's say, the achieving the goal of problem, solving the problem. Yeah, we had to understand the principle behind, let's say, each engineering topic. And if we were able to understand that, then the examination was very easy. Yeah, let's say, only thing that whatever, even if we had to memorize some formulas or anything, we could take those formulas to the examination actually. Or we can even directly, you don't even need to take anything. Yeah, you can directly ask the professor. Yeah, so what is this, what is this, and they will guide us. If you know the principle, if the professor knows that you know the principle behind, then he will help you with the examination. The examination doesn't matter at all, but the core, I'd say, as I said, the principle is what matters.
Principles, the concepts, the fundamentals. This
Exactly.
is what it is. We sit and memorize, write record notes and observation, blue pen, red pen, underline page number. It is
No,
not taking us anywhere. But the
absolutely.
problem is, Venkatesh, why I'm doing these interviews is people do not understand what is the problem, then how to find solutions. And 3-4 young people sitting and talking, if you listen to them, oh, why did I study this? It's of waste. They are blaming education instead of the
True.
education system and the educators. You understand, right, what I'm trying to say?
Sure. And even I will say, to even to add that, I will say, even the questions were not similar to what we had in India. Yeah, they were more, let's say, practical based problems. Yeah, there was always this practical approach to the problems. All real life world problems were converted to questions, and there we could understand. Okay, so this is what is leading to. And in India it was, let's say, completely opposite. Yeah, it was, let's say, cut short. There was just direct, whatever you had in the book directly converted to questions. So this was, let's say, really good here. Yeah.
Exactly. We should join institutions where, for example, the concept is not making money. When the
Mhm.
concept is teaching young minds high level of technology, this is where we should go and study. That's why I
Sure.
strongly stick towards this top
Mm.
European public universities for bachelors and masters, basically.
Yeah.
So next, I wanted to ask you, how good were the laboratories and infrastructure at Technical University of Liberec?
I'll say, okay, maybe I had to compare this because this is a question which a lot of friends have already asked me. Yeah. Those who were going to join, or even my friends who are or who did study masters in India. Yeah. So the main thing is, in even in my bachelor's, there was good laboratory equipment. Yeah. But I will say, along with the laboratory equipment here, which was, let's say, already, let's say, above standard, let's say, really good, but the approach how it was taught, or the approach how we actually did the experiments, was much more, let's say, enhanced here in Czech Republic. Yeah, they, or we could understand why we are doing the experiment, and this is what was lacking in India. In India, we did the experiment. For example, even in the schools, if you ask me, we did this titration, and no one knows why did we do this chemical titration. Yeah, no one knows. But here, for each experiment, we do understand why we are doing this experiment, and this is what was really interesting for me, and this really brought, let's say, motivation to even students who did not want to learn, or it. This was really good approach, I will say here.
Exactly. I will always say, when the student really loves the subject and takes that particular program, and suddenly he loses interest, it's not his mistake, because he is fed in a way he loses interest in a subject. That's how it
True.
is. And how good, how knowledgeable these professors were at TUL.
If you ask the right questions, let's say, to the professors, it is not like in India that, for example, if someone is a design professor and you go ask him design related questions, in India they are, let's say, cut short to this one subject. Yeah, but here it is like they have some industrial experience or they have connections to the industrial experts. Yeah, and if you make some kind of a contact, yeah, a regular contact with these professors, you will understand, let's say, a wider, let's say, you will get a wider range of knowledge from him. And it is not just, you don't need to stick with that subject he is teaching or he will teach to you. So you can get a lot of other knowledge, or I won't say other knowledge, but let's say connected knowledge and connected industrial experience from him. And he can teach you better. That I mean, I will say this was really good. As I said, there is always a practical approach to everything here. There's absolutely no book rubbish things going on
Nothing,
here.
nothing. Directly, to the point. So, you already told about this, but little bit elaboration on the examination part. How do they assess your knowledge? It's only written or oral, or how it is?
um it is written. Let's say there is always a written examination. There is no doubt about it. But I think oral examinations or the vivas, what we call, is predominant here, I will say. And they do not care what answers you get. Yeah, they absolutely don't care what answers you get. Even if the answer is incorrect, you may get full marks in the examination. The approach you provide to each and every problem is
Super.
what that matters. I still remember, let's say, there was this very old professor. Yeah, he was around 80 years old. And we did always the examinations. He was related to production machines. Yeah, and whenever we finished the examinations and there was this checking, or he will give out the results, yeah, to individuals whenever we went to him. And he never, let's say, wrote the marks on the exam sheet. He will always ask questions first, and he will see what approach we used, and only then he will give the marks. Even if the answer was incorrect, but we understood the problem, then he will give the full marks, or vice versa. Even if answer was correct but the knowledge was not there, he will give 0 marks. Yeah. So I think, honestly, I mean, this was little bit difficult for a few people, but I think this was really good, let's say, motivation to actually understand the knowledge or the concepts behind.
Yeah, I believe all these things only took you to Robert Bosch, where you are right now.
Absolutely, no doubt
You
about it. Yeah.
thanks. You also agree. No pain, no gain. And one more question, brother. You
Mm,
may have hectares and hectares of ground, hundreds of buildings,
mhm.
laboratory equipments, and everything. But without qualified professors, you are never going to give high quality education to students. Do you accept this or not?
Mm. This is very true. As I said, I don't think, I don't know how much percentage of the Indian professors, I mean, back in India, they have this industrial, let's say, connection or this practical approach. Let's say, even in my bachelor's, let's say, for 4 years, I could only meet, let's say, one or maybe two professors in my entire 4 year study there in my bachelor's. But here, I think there are 80 to 90% of professors who are connected to the industries, who are actively working on projects, research projects or research topics, every on a everyday, per, let's say, basis. Yeah, so I think they have not only this, let's say, technical knowledge, but they know how to apply these knowledge onto the industrial problems. Yeah, and this is more important, I believe. Yeah, just it doesn't matter if you don't know, if even if the professor, let's say, doesn't know a certain, let's say, a part of the topic, but he will, let's say, try to gain those knowledge, that additional knowledge, in order to solve those problems. Yeah, and this is the same approach which he also taught, or he or she also teaches to these young students. I believe this is what we should also adapt in India, but let's see how long it takes.
Bro, you pulled up a nice point. When this happens in India, why do I sit
Yes,
and send students to Europe?
absolutely. Yeah,
You would know very clearly, processing 700, 800 students from my 4 offices to 20 different European countries. It's like, it's a Herculean task. It's not
yeah.
that easy. It's like crazy. But
Mm.
the education, the qualities and the priorities is only going lower and lower, which is a very, worrying factor. Only the fees is going higher, quality is going lesser. This is, perfectly a wrong combination.
Yeah.
So then coming back to your, studies, what was your final year project?
I did, let's say, again, this was another industry project. Yeah. Um, there was this company, and they used to build clay model of the automotive cars. Yeah.
Wow.
So what it actually does is, they, even before, let's say, going on the software and actually designing the car, they first try to build this car on a clay. Yeah, let's say 1:1 full size with proper tires and everything. They build a full car, and they let's say visualize this directly by eyes. How does it look? They look at the curvature, they look at the surface, and to, because this clay model is actually heavier than the actual car. This is, let's say, 4 to 8 tons, this clay model thing. In the real car may only weigh around 1 or 2 tons maximum. Yeah, but this
Yes.
clay model is, let's say, 2 or 3 times higher. So in order to move this clay model, they use something like a jack. Let's say we have, let's say, these jacks in the mechanic shops and all, but the jack they are using is, let's say more, let's say, automated. They can move around using, let's say, hydraulics and pneumatics, and this is the jack, let's say pneumatic jack, which I had in my thesis. Yeah, basically. So I had to develop a jack which was able to not only lift this clay model, let's say, of 5 tons, but also move around on the floor, on the shop floor, and it can, let's say, adjust how much height it can go up to. And there were some limitations, let's say, in my thesis. Let's say this can only go up to this height, this can reduce to such low heights. And there had the I mean, I had to also introduce some safety systems, let's say, yeah, to prevent some, let's say, mishappening. So
Yeah.
it was quite interesting topic, but regular feedback from also the companies was also good. Yeah.
Super. And one important point which you specified in the previous question, I feel, and I always say, a university without industrial connection, it's like
Mhm.
building a beautiful house without water and electricity.
Mhm.
Because if
True.
we don't have this, real world problem connect, and we don't try to solve that just for the namesake getting a degree, it's not going to
Mhm.
take us anywhere. Industrial connection, how important it is for a university.
I think this is the primary, let's say, I will say primary, because even the technical subject based knowledge is definitely important. This is absolutely true. But the how to apply those knowledge is only coming from, let's say, these industrial connects. Yeah, as professors always have, they try to, let's say, bring problems directly from the industry to our, let's say, table in for the students. Yeah, and this really helps. And you are already ready for some, let's say, let's say, taking on the technical topics when you join the job. Yeah, I won't say you are 100% ready, because there are other tools that you need to learn when you join a job, but the practical approach that you need to have for performing, let's say, these tasks at the job level, that is what they are preparing for. Yeah, that is very true.
Super. Before talking about your professional life, this is an important question, especially
Mhm.
how focused you were towards the task. Because as a company, we always say, try avoiding doing part-time job. Even if you do part-time job, do it with
Mhm.
connection with your studies,
Mhm.
like an
Yeah.
internship and all those things. And please remain focused and try to
Mhm.
complete your degree within 2 years. Only as a company, we only say this because many people, they tell people you can do part-time job, this, that, and all these nonsenses. So
Mhm.
kindly enlighten the audience, Venkatesh, how important it is to stay focused towards the task.
Yeah. So this was also simple for me. I will say I did not join any part time. Yeah. So first thing was, for me, I came here to study, and I only wanted to study here. Yeah, for at least for the first 2 years. I mean, obviously, like every other, let's say, middle class Indian, I also needed money at the end. Yeah, but I prepared for the masters itself. Let's say, um, with all the energy I had, and surrounding, let's say, almost, I will say, half of my friends did this part-time job. Some were related, most of them were not related to the education. Yeah. And not only did they do part time, but they had to spend the entire nights at these part time jobs, and it was not really good. Yeah, not for their education, not for nothing. Yeah, I think this is very important to focus only on what you need. And the benefit, for this was that we did the scholarships. Yeah, and we got the scholarships right from the second semester. Yeah, the second, we had, let's say, 4 semester in 2 years. So for the, let's say, 3 semesters, the last 3 semesters, we did receive the scholarship, which could, let's say, cover our entire accommodation fees. Yeah. So I never paid accommodation fees except for the first semester. So this was quite cool. And even if you are scoring, like, say, above 90-95% in an examination, this is not very difficult if you just understand the concepts behind. Yeah, as I told. And if you can, if you are able to do that, then you are even, let's say, earning more than what you need to pay for accommodation. You can save a little more.
Super
So
smart,
yeah,
right?
absolutely.
See, any guy coming to my office, I clearly tell them, bro, irrespective of your family situation, okay,
Mm,
somehow focus on your studies, finish the
mm,
task, and then do whatever you want. But unfortunately, other companies don't say that and misguide them. That's why, I asked this
yeah.
question. Also, what was your, when you were a student, what was your approximate living expenses per month? Plus, what is the tuition fees that you paid for TUL every year?
So I think the tuition fees was around 4,000 USD. I'm not exactly, I don't exactly remember the numbers, but for the accommodation, it was around 3,000 crowns, Czech coronas. It is around, at the time when I joined, it was only around 3 rupees per crown. Yeah, and so you can calculate it automatically. So it was not so expensive, I will say. And the fees, I think the even the tuition fees which we pay are is quite similar to what now Indian top universities are asking for. So this is not something too high or anything, I will say.
Exactly, brother. It's not at all a wise choice to spend a fortune for education and
Sure.
then during our work life chasing behind those things. I don't find any
Mhm.
logic. Then now coming to your professional life, the second segment.
Mhm.
So when did you start applying for your job and when did you get your first job?
So I joined here, let's say, first of all, in TUL in 2016. Yeah, so I finished exactly in 2 years as was planned. So my thesis I was doing since 2015 mid, and I had to finish it by 2016 June. And I started applying only in the 2016, let's say, in the last semester, yeah, the fourth semester basically. And there were a lot of companies who were asking mainly regarding this work permit thing or etc. But as soon as they got to know that we are students in technical Liberecs, yeah, technical Liberecs, then they started processing or taking the job interviews and everything. Yeah, for me, it was easy. Yeah, I will say I got a lot of interviews, luckily, and many of them were telephonic interviews. Many of them were video call interviews. Yeah, some of them I also attended them directly in person, and I got the, let's say, job even before I presented my thesis at the university. Yeah, I had, let's say, a month or two to spare in my university before I joined the job, and the company was actually asking to join even before my thesis ended. Yeah, because but I really couldn't, because it was too far from my university. So I had to wait. I had to explain them, yeah, this is the situation. I'll first finish my masters and then come there. So yeah, it was cool. But yeah.
Super. You said in between, you got your job easily. It's because you work so hard for it. You have put in all the efforts. You did not do part-time job. You understood,
Yeah.
how, with what level of trust your parents have sent you here. You were
Hmm.
you were to the focus, you were to the point,
Yeah.
the agenda, why
Hmm.
we came abroad. That's why getting an employment was easier for you, which was amazing.
Sure,
So
sure.
what was your first job? Which company? What was your designation?
So my first company was in Prague. This is called Rehau. This was a German company, yeah, and they are, let's say, purely based on polymer related products. Yeah, my, let's say, department was purely automotive. let's say plastics, everything, all the plastics which are on the automotive, let's say, it is not only plastics, it can be also rubber, elastomers, and anything. And I was, let's say, the CAD designer when I initially joined. Yeah. And then I became, let's say, not only CAD designer, but also a little bit of R&D as to how we can change the design, what materials can we use, and everything. So additionally, I took up other responsibilities within the company when I
Super.
joined.
So when did you move to this Robert Bosch, your current job?
So in between Robert Bosch and this first company, I was also working at Honeywell for the safety and protective systems. Yeah. And this was another polymer. Let's say Honeywell is very well known for this aeronautics here,
Yeah.
and there are, let's say, multiple other departments as well. And I was in this safety and productivity solutions, and this was exactly during this COVID time
Okay.
when I was in Honeywell. Yeah, and let's say I don't know if it was by coincidence, but I was working on the protective suits.
Okay.
Yeah. And this was not just the protective suit which you were able to see on the news or anything. This was more like an industrial level, and you can use these protective suits in these chemical factories, or in, let's say, highly poisonous areas and all these things. Yeah.
Okay. That level.
So
Okay. Okay.
yes, it was a very high level protective suit, and you had to use oxygen cylinders in these protective suits to be able to use these suits. So this was, let's say, quite high level, and all the polymer products and all the metal products, that is what I was working on, because it was divided, let's say, into textile and the hard materials. So I was into the other section,
Super.
and then
So
I joined, let's say, Robert Bosch in 2022, and then since then I'm here.
amazing, man. Amazing. What is your designation at Robert Bosch?
I'm currently here as a development engineer. Yeah. In the department DNOx, and this is basically something like an after treatment exhaust system. Yeah. So all the emissions, mainly the nitrogen dioxide emissions or nitrogen oxide emissions, this is what we are treating for. And I am, let's say, in the component, let's say, dosing module, which actually injects this chemical to treat these NOx gases, basically. So this is, I will say, we are currently, let's say, the core R&D team for the world to develop these after treatment for a NOx.
Wonderful. Excellent. You know what's happening currently in Tamil Nadu. 95% brother, only studying artificial intelligence, data science, data analytics, machine learning, cyber security. And if somebody comes, which I am sure you will also accept, which when somebody comes and tells me, only these courses are good, other courses are outdated, it's only funny, right? It's only funny to
It's
think that way. Audience, when
yeah.
I got to know I'm going to interview an automobile engineer currently working for Robert Bosch, I was so happy. Why, brother? Because young audiences watching this, they will take automobile engineering as their bachelor's course. They will take mechanical engineering as a bachelor's course. When we studied engineering, there were students from all departments, right? Right from biotechnology to food technology. Now everything closed. Everything closed. All thanks to this so-called educational experts. They go to colleges and colleges, they say, why are you studying this course? Only AI is the future. Only data science is the future. And everybody started to take that. And now, there is a big chaos when it comes to
Yeah.
this particular segment. And I would like
Yeah.
you to say, automobile also has opportunities. Kindly talk about that to the young audience. Because before you answer, because I think you like some course, okay? As long as the course has, opportunities after your studies, you should take it, irrespective of what these other jokers say. Kindly talk about it.
So I will say, just not only, let's say, AI, but just the IT alone itself isn't everything. First of all, yeah, you cannot eat food just by Zomato app. Someone has to cook it, yeah, or someone has to grow the crops. And it is the same way automotive as well. Yeah, someone has to build the cars, in order to use the IT inside these systems. Yeah. So both are equally important. And I will say, if you do have the passion for mechanical, even a little bit, don't think about IT. Just do what your heart says. Yeah. Don't listen to others.
Exactly.
Whatever field or whatever is your passion, just look forward to it. There is always an opportunity, or there is, if you are the expert, then you will find, or you will create an open position for yourself in the right company. Yeah. This is, you don't even need to think about job in the job perspective, but if you like something, then you will find a way to excel in it. Yeah. So there's no question about it.
Yes, Venkatesh, you know what? The same what you told is told by Anna University Vice Chancellor also. Even
Mm-hmm.
today, you can check the website, Venkatesh. Anna University only conducts computer science program at bachelor's. They don't
Mm-hmm.
teach artificial intelligence, data science, or data analytics, because what they say, Anna University, what they say, you study core engineering. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
these are all tools which can support your core engineering. We confuse
Mm-hmm.
between tools and proper subjects. This is what the confusion lies. And your answer and the examples that you gave, even a layman could understand. I'm not telling
Yeah.
people should not study computer science, but please, all five fingers are not same. Let kids choose whatever they want to study, but study at the right place. Wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So now in India, it's a big topic, which you would have studied and listened about, work-life balance, which is a joke in
Mm-hmm.
India. Not with all the companies, majority of the companies. Talk us about your work-life balance in Robert Bosch.
I think this is the biggest plus that everyone seeks for when they are coming out of India, especially those who have worked in India. I have never worked in India, yeah, so I directly joined the job here. Although I did some internships over India in Renault Nissan in Chennai. Yeah. So I could already see, let's say they start, let's say at 7 or 8 o'clock, and then they work until, let's say, again 7 or 8 o'clock, and then they go back to bed. Yeah, this is their everyday routine in India, and this is not the case here. Yeah, the I think the overall quality of work that is being done here is much higher, even if we are only working for, let's say, 7 hours or 6 hours in a daytime. Yeah, I will say the people here start quite early. First of all, this is slightly different from what we see in India, because I think they start around 8 or 9 a.m. Yeah? But here people usually start around, let's say, 7 a.m. or something. I mean, it's all flexible. Yeah, you can come even at 10 a.m. There is absolutely no questions raised. But I see people a lot here start from 7, and they finish as early as possible. Let's say 3 p.m. or something, and they go back home. Yeah, and you have all the remaining day to do anything you want. And you have, let's say, it is not even like you don't have energy or something. You have all the energy you need. You just need, let's say, 30 minutes or some rest after you go home, and you can do anything you want. After 4 p.m., let's say, you have another, let's say, 5 or 6 hours to roam around, to look, even to go to another city and do something. Yeah, there's a lot of time. um, I mean, even at work, this is, let's say, only the working hours. But even during the working hours, this is, let's say, we are not continuously just on the laptop doing some work or anything. We can go around, we can interact with people, we can sit around for a coffee. We can roam around, we can do anything, we can do a walk around the factory, we can do anything we want. It is all up to us. The managers only care about, let's say, the work
Work.
done at the
That,
end.
that at the end. That's it. I
Yeah.
have a question for you. Okay. Let's assume, okay, a guy works in India and the
Mm.
work-life balance is not there in his company. Okay. But still, when he has a lot of skills, he can still ask the company and tell them he needs a work-life balance. But when he doesn't have the required skill set, he has to
Mhm.
dance to the tune of the company. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, this is again true. I will say you have to work really hard to get or acquire these skills here. I mean, there are two possibilities. One, that you don't know absolutely anything and you join a company, and then you may improve your skills. So this is one way you can do. But this is, let's say, this can happen. Yeah, this is not something new, that may be a shock, but this can happen. And the other way is that you do acquire some amount of skills before you join a company, and then you just build upon the target, or the product level knowledge inside a company. Yeah, and apply your technical skills what you have already acquired. So I think both are ways, but I will say the second way, which is to acquire some amount of knowledge before or pre-hand and work towards your skills, is much better.
Brother, I would always say core engineers, if you have done your bachelor's in India, 100% masters is required.
Hmm.
When your family permits to spend this 2-3 lakhs per year plus the living expenses that you have to spend in Europe for your studies, please go and study. This is what I used to say, because core engineering
Hmm.
after bachelor's in India without masters, please don't blame mechanical and automobile departments later. You give what the department requires, then the department will give you everything.
Yeah,
Exactly in your case. And also,
sure.
second last question that I wanted to ask you was, Europe always encourages and motivates lifelong learning. So along with your
Mhm.
work life, are you also studying and upgrading your skills little by bit, little by little, here and there?
This is very true, because even after, let's say, I have now around 6+ years of work experience here, but I will say there is an ocean of things to learn, and every day is a learning. Even at my office, out of, let's say, the 7 effective hours I work, out of this, I will say 50% of the time I'm doing studying. Yeah, so everything, because especially my position is such a position, like I have to do R&D stuff. Yeah, basically. So I have to find the problem, I have to find the solution myself. So no one will give me, let's say, come and ask me, hey, this is the problem. No, no, this is what my job is, to find the problem. Yeah, so I have to find the problem, I have to find the solution, and to find the solution I have to study, let's say, everything. Let's say, not just, as you just mentioned, you don't need to do the specialization in bachelor's. You need to use it afterwards, but if you have the core, you need to study everything after that. Yeah, so yeah, absolutely, you need to study every day.
Exactly. And do you attribute this quality of yours of constant learning
Mm.
to TUL, Czech Republic?
But this is also, I will say, additionally, because when I was, let's say, in bachelor's, I only focused on, let's say, uh, technical, or let's say, what the subject based knowledge. Yeah, but after coming here, I had to, let's say, widen, let's say, my knowledge. Yeah, not just stick to one topic or one core subject, and I had to include, let's say, a lot others. Let's say, as I mentioned, let's say, tools, let's say, CAD tools, whether it is design tools, whether it is, like, a material knowledge, and other, let's say, different departments, even IT stuffs we had to learn a lot. Yeah, so everything was included, and this is, let's say, the way, or this is what the practical approach needs. Yeah, once you start looking at these industrial problems, then you cannot stick to one subject. Yeah, so you have to know a lot other things to solve these problems. Yeah.
Wonderful. So if you look at it in a holistic way, you are enjoying what you're doing, which I could easily
Hmm.
see from your, from the way that you express about your work. And you're
Hmm.
also constantly learning, and you have this work-life balance. I feel it's an ideal case, right? Which you are the ideal life, I would say, which an
Hmm.
young engineer lives through. Do you accept this or not?
No, this is absolutely true. Especially in my case, I will say I always wanted to work in automotive. Yeah, this is even before I started my bachelor's. Yeah, this is even before I started bachelor's. And the moment I went to join this SRM, I also, let's say, did this entrance examinations, and I went through, let's say, by ranking, yeah, to SRM. So I chose automotive or mechanical at SRM, and luckily I was able to do this internship, well, not only internship, but a project in exhaust systems in Chennai itself. And this is exactly what I'm working right now here in my, let's say, after my masters. Yeah, but masters did help me a lot, let's say, to how to approach these practical problems, because this was lacking when I was in India. Yeah, so whatever right now is, let's say, based on, let's say, the work-life balance. This is, I think, this is the core, I will say, which is, let's say, the best part here, this work-life balance. I won't say you will be, let's say, a rich billionaire, or you will become, let's say, big. You don't need all that. You will be happy on a daily life basis. Yeah. So that is most important, I will say, in
Good.
comparison.
End of the day, brother, you're happy with what you're doing,
Yeah.
and you are making progress and people are looking up to you. And I'm sure without even asking you, I can say this, your parents
Mm,
will be really proud of what you're doing right now.
mm,
I need not even ask you this as a question. So when you made your parents proud and when you enjoy what you're doing,
mm.
nothing much left. From here it's like
So,
constant learning and increasing the levels. And when young minds, I tell this in all the interviews, even though it is repetitive, school children are watching these interviews, brother.
mhm.
Okay, so your words and your travel and your journey, it motivates them. And right from, you see, from your age of 16, 17, you are very clear what you wanted to
Mhm.
study. Okay, and you are
Yeah.
clear, any agenda taken, you want to finish it with your full satisfaction,
Mhm.
and you enjoy what you do. I think that's what has taken you to these levels,
True.
basically.
True.
Before we sum up this beautiful interview, any
Mhm.
points that you would like to say to our audience, especially young minds looking to take up core engineering?
Yeah, I do want to say, and maybe I would use myself as an example. Yeah, because some people may think that, yeah, you, if even if you have a goal in your mind, for example, I had this automotive goal in my mind. Maybe you need to know a lot already before joining something. You had all the confusions. Let me tell you my example. I had absolutely zero knowledge about cars and bikes and everything. Yeah, when I joined, let's say, automotive, even in my bachelor's, yeah, this is, they are not, let's say, I won't say not the master's level. Yeah, this is only bachelor level. All the students in my department had way more knowledge in automotive already when they joined. Yeah, most of the people, or I will say 40-50% of the people were already involved in some way, some or the other way, in automotive. I did not even own a bike or a car or anything. I never went to a mechanic shop or anything. Yeah, I had only passion. That's all I had. Yeah, only just with the passion. I worked all the skills. I acquired as much as knowledge in my bachelor's, and I had, let's say, I will say, tune it in the right way during the masters. Yeah, because I did not have a clear way even after I finished my bachelor's. I had good, let's say, I had pretty good knowledge about the automotive, but I didn't know how to apply them, or how to really streamline in a perfect way to, let's say, go into an industry and start working daily. Yeah? So this was really helpful in the masters. So I will say, just keep the passion alive and just study hard. Not just study hard, but, let's say, do or bring a practical approach in your way, and then this do a lot of projects, do connect with a lot of industrial experts as much as you can, and then it will be helpful.
Wonderful. Passion with the right direction, because everybody puts in
Absolutely.
efforts. The effort has
Yeah.
to be put in the right place.
Yes.
And you have to be
Exactly.
smart. Spend less, learn more, study in top public universities, as our brother pointed out. Keep your passion very high. You are going to go places and you will have a beautiful life with good work life balance. Venkatesh,
Mhm.
thank you so much. It was great talking to you. And I would also like to say this, many points that you said, that is what I've been practicing for the past 16 years when I'm guiding all these young minds to
Mhm.
going abroad and studying. And I stick to these fundamentals so that we create a good platform for them. Thank you so much for your time, to take time out
Thank you.
and to do this interview and enlighten people. We are really, really grateful and thankful to you. Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so
Thank you,
much
Shiva.
and
Thank you.
wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Same to you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.